Sister Margaret blames it as the protagonist pretends bliss. Old habits, medicated panic, sense deprivation, addicted to the static. So go run in traffic. Why don't you all go run in traffic? Run in traffic. Just go run in traffic. Frozen chain reactive, kneeling for the posture as I ingest the flea-infested gospel. Old habits, cheat codes stocked to reintegrate the flock. One of these days, market your own psyops. Market your own psyops. Market your own psyops. Market your own psyops. Running traffic. Why don't you all just go run in traffic? All of you now, go run in traffic. Why don't you all just go run in traffic? When that rush hour hits, when the fever splits, run in traffic. Put on your big boy pants and go run in traffic in a trance. A new robotic and at times redeeming poetic dance of a blue-tinted permanence. An eye for a desperate buck, an eye for a crowned convert, an eye for a dominated fantasy. Basically, what I'm trying to convey with this mash of brain cells is an eye for anything other than an eye, other than an eye, other than an eye. Anything else I think will suffice to provide a vine that even Tarzan can get behind. To supply the night and hear the ringing of that closing bell with a renewed greedy smile as we all pack up our things and go run in traffic. Go run in traffic. Go run in traffic. Enough with the static. Old habits. Old habits. Old habits. The only things I can really call my own, like a dog's loyal bone, are my failures, despised and compromised, but the right to sanitize all my failures. Like old habits burnt, new ventures spurned, just my failures. Sexual, financial, athletic, political, general manhood, feminine touch, academic, mental worth, trust and love, right leg rust, right side of the bed, right to fade the spread. Right before my mind evolved. So sorry to the family. Not a whole lot to add to the keep for the winter harvesting. Money got the best of me. Money swept the conscience clean. Maybe more money for the lottery or funding to recruit the leech. And sorry to my friends and pest. Art consoles the fallen quest, I guess. With the old and new spoken for, like Moses, always burning bushes, I confess. Like Moses and the gold to great, as Moses makes a funny face, Jesus saves the promissory note, Jesus wakes with thorns of love, failures of a man who bled, but America don't seem the same. America, please forgive my moan. America, please deliver a home. For some say failure leads one way, succeed if you anticipate. So rid emotion and fail each day until the gods consent the grace. These days, license plates don't sting the same, so I fail until the truth unleashes. America and Jesus fishes, America and Moses regifted, America and love for the prison. America and love for each freely willed citizen, America and love for each Cretan, America with a love afflicted, America with a heart condition. So once again, sorry to the family, friends, pests, and countrymen, and women of that higher branch, licensing this avalanche. Failures of a man, not quite a man, I guess. Failures like spam caught up in a judicial jest, as more and more failures inch towards the black from the red, I confess. So fail before the night perfumes the haggard contest, and fail after the wine convinces the rest of the nest to invest, and fail between the sheets or in the Cadillac's backseat, the virginal conquest. But more than ever fail until the love demands the world to bend the knee before the Queen of Hearts, renewed and remarkable for the gods to bless, I guess. Might it all have been an updated Rorschach test to better ingest all of this mess? God bless, I guess, nonetheless. It was already written. 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 If I was the Antichrist, would I even concern myself with scientific dogma or climate change? Or would my soulless cage be devoted towards more selfish agendas like maintaining my youthful arrogance for the promotion of a one-world blood type to trap the innocent among the unwashed masses with whom I daily pledge my diligent vices and unusable neurological delights, to stress the rest among rejects and nursing home sunflowers? I should have probably started with the following introduction to add a little bit of that wholesome, plausible deniability within my erratic ranting. How am I ever going to recite these lines without laughing at all the maniacal blandness of this irregular, or maybe this is in fact the norm for such an Antichrist-themed, creative undertaking, introspective approach. No matter what muse is currently leading me on this path of next chapter creation, without my concrete foundation or algorithmic anchoring. But if I truly was the Antichrist in a long line of ancestral vampires and warlocks, would any of these lines even matter? Especially to those who don't believe in such fantastical, illogical tales of brimstone and
and clocks out of time and rhythm, and moves unusual with wisdom famished for the blue and black and white and crimson and yellow and brave and champions of television. When even the commercials get lost in a torched haze of medication, it might be time for the poor to prosper, minus the side effects and nuclear constipation. Or maybe I'm only conjuring this verbal absurdity to appease my vanity and lackluster bravado, with blood cold and neatly improvised, which directs back to the problem of fear and pride, to maintain the current tide and run to the hills when the motive conspires, back from the dead to deliver my own eulogy, with my back snapped in half to remortgage the royalty. But what royalty? What royalty? What royalty? What royalty? Whose role receives? The Antichrist impedes. Whose voice relieved? The Antichrist deceived. When I awoke early this morning, I demanded some form of payment to crawl these notions out, to finance my own roundabout, leverage the automation and subjugation, drink from the fountain of youthful spite, and toss some trust into the polluted atmosphere. After all, what is there to fear when others direct the gears to adhere to some fuzzy political cloud, outdated and run down with no logical dismount? Like the death of each redundant salesman, or the bankrupt opportunity and least disease, to dream the most sincere of scenes without an audience to leer, or humblest apology towards the critical seer, unavoidable, but it seems to breathe in the comfort of the triumphant breeze, when the winter convenes to track your wake and feed. Still on appeal, but sporting a vision less revered, dental plans don't damn the entire plot, until the river flows the rot, until the diagnosis fuels the feast, until the gladiator paints the muzzled dice, wrong or right. The song won't bite, it's not a violent plight, but an identity long survived, to turn a new license on life inscribed with advice from the hospital flight. We're back to the fright of the Antichrist, who must duly deliver that self-imposed homily with enough impact, like an ancient meteorite, driven to the loneliest of blood types, back when the dinosaurs marched towards the light, when the buffalo severed the line, as the dominoes passed to the splinter, schism to schism, to schism to schism, greater humanity pushed beyond friction, what passes for reality or fiction, with the proper diction, direction and commitment, and the turbulence accounted for, and most relied upon, to return to the most primal of reproductive missions, the stream of nonsense, of sober solace, praying the rosary for all tribes obsessively compulsive. Does that make me paranoid and out on the wire, solo and absent from the social cues, isolated, waiting for a tone less infused, to refuse and reuse and recuse and read the clues, and reboot attitudes to retool the amusement parks and age-appropriate zoos, with results unexpected but financially replenished, infamous and informed and uncorked, and gross domestic products resourced. Make sure to report to the most rancid of unclaimed lore, to ensure the rain check can still be restored. But what royalty? What royalty? What royalty? What royalty? Whose role receives? The Antichrist impedes. Whose voice relieves? The Antichrist deceives. Implore the cradled core if I was the Antichrist. Upload the relevant response if I was the Antichrist. Is this merely a comedic lullaby if I was the Antichrist? Will I slide towards a deeper well if I was the Antichrist? Is uniting the world in peace and love and all that good vibration sung about in the era of free love that I won't pretend to comprehend beyond the simplest simulated sphere, again with the pride, again with the fear, again with the mind games, again with the public domain, again with the censored confusion, again with the sexual search of, inbred and inside, insight not impolite, encouraged to empathize, but once again back towards the fear and pride. Disrobe the floor if I was the Antichrist, slice the moon for warmth if I was the Antichrist, just one more identity to contort if I was the Antichrist, ears, nose, and throat reborn if I was the Antichrist. The others breed us seriously to rectify the stilted surgery, to speak ill of those tracked and monitored and under the microphone and microscope with minds uncorked, the Antichrist most spoken for, Revelation's cover story. Do any of these phrases spike some worth back to those fatal issues regarding the written word and the poetic price of servitude to that miserable muse that paints the room with guilt and shame, insulated sin and blame, and the farcical portrayal and the slander caught in the rain, but the pain always seems to win this digital game, getting the last word. Credit to the spirit spurned, found America in a blue room with no windows to seduce the germs, no hair to feel the cleanest of burns, sought the Messiah in the complaints, but the love is more conditioned. When the love defeats the Wilhelm scream, the shaman with no meat or honey, but milks the sunlight, invites the function, votes the long way home, and loves the love when the love gets blinded and disturbed by the findings, like courtroom discovery, argumentative hearsay, badgering the student prep parade, but the love handles the rest without question, without injury, without judgment or skin tame, without spies on the balcony, without love there is nothing, no one and no song, no right and no wrong. But we're back to the fear and pride and the lust and the greed, and no seven to speed the dementia, persuade the avalanche if I was the Antichrist. No wars to plague the branch if I was the Antichrist. Identity crisis bent the breach if I was the Antichrist. Span the fault line if I was the Antichrist. Just emotional engineers. Just emotional engineers. Emotional engineers. Emotional engineers. But what royalty? What royalty? But what royalty? What royalty? Whose role recedes? The Antichrist impedes. Whose voice relieves? The Antichrist deceives.
Forget about all those other obnoxious notions, for all I really want, truly and with just a bit of egotistical nonchalance, is to be a truly good person. Prioritize before all this art, money, and pride, a stalwart American, kinder citizen, stellar representative of humanity's global customer service line, like 12 monkeys in a headlock, interrogating the blue, like Rosemary's Baby feeding on the irrelevant lunar eclipse. So just how do I become that kneeling, God-fearing, red-blooded, genuine good person, away from all the ill replies, like the farmland scarred with pesticides to trap the flies, or the washed brains of riotous reptiles who stand on one leg for days on end to prove they're really a man, as all the rest of us bow down when we're allowed an attempt to mute the trial. Mute the trial. Mute the trial. Mute the trial. Do I volunteer to vacuum the void inside, vacation in the cleanest of slates, work to place value on my internal combustion? Just monetize me, please, so I can enjoy my seed, or label me toxic, and I'll gleefully promote the sty. Toilet paper conspiracies with no 5-year plans required. My brain like a mushroom networking up and down my spine. If I fake it long enough, will I finally walk the line? What line, you ask? Well, any old line will do just fine. To slam the brakes within my grapefruit of a mind. But when you look back towards the waves, a sincerely good person should not be so difficult to confine. Mute the trial. Mute the trial. Mute the trial. Mute the trial. I already spoke regarding the failure and the guilt of the 7. Are those even a part of my personalized, line-by-line deduced ism? Would I even be able to recognize heaven, but seriously and without drama, and a trauma-free heart to attack the farce? Will I ever be able to reach that level of human compassion before those thoughts and words advance and invade to try to replace the love with ignorance and hate? Or is it time to levitate to improve my chances of buying a faith? And mute the trial. When you mute the trial, mute the trial. When you mute the trial, mute the trial. Mute the trial. We'll be dancing when the rain gets improvised, or denied, or shaved like a soldier, growing bolder and bolder with no new normal. Some catch fish with warm words, some catch fish with boulders, still some catch fish to emote even colder. And mute the trial. Like a pharmaceutical advert, the promise of why in every echo, to erupt economic aggression in the age of assets turned liquid. So just drink it all up to survive as long as the story's sold. As long as the story's sold. As long as the story's sold. As long as the story sold. To mute the trial. 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 To mute the trial. When you mute the trial. To mute the trial. apologies, but I'm just not quite sure about this entire endeavor yet. Should I just begin cycling in some words that might feed your interest in a song as the tribute velvet flows along? The tribute velvet charms without context. Stay awake until alarmed. Tribute velvet, thank the good, contagious Lord. Praise the sun, moon, and roses. Am I still too shallow to expose this? All my inhibitions and sorrow, my shame that I pretend to erase, the sins that resurface to manipulate my face and place and taste and state, but solid like a gas station. Solid like a gas station. Apologies again, but I must kindly inquire for my own artistic sanity if this is indeed heading somewhere. Some plot, some 3-act, awaiting the green light, recycling the flame, for it's not the flame that eats your soul, but the plastic-wrapped furniture, afraid to even feel the draft, like enemies indifferent, or vanity dug out the ass, certain of a safer path towards a sponsored plot of dirt with ample worms to pray the curse. Liquid, like a filtered dimension. Liquid, like a filtered dimension. Just a simple tribute velvet with gas like an inflated pelvis and a clavicle summoning Elvis. Still just a vicious tribute velvet, an honest tribute velvet. So love the drone and melt away before they stone the entire comedy and use these words to instigate and bid on the pain with gas like an inflated pelvis. Gas, like an inflated pelvis. Gas, like an inflated pelvis. And a clavicle bent and welded, another humbled tribute velvet. Just a primal tribute velvet, the pivotal tribute velvet. Until we all swim beneath that cool and healing tribute velvet. Thank you, Lou Reed. Thank you, Patti Smith. Thank you, Lou Reed. Thank you, Patti Smith. The spark, the hunger, fates recovered. The dawn of thunder. The lightning like velvet. The spark. The hunger. The fates recovered. The dawn of thunder. The lightning like velvet. Been saying for a long while now that words might become the truest villain. To compose without all this babbling would be freeing when you merely allow the music to direct the healing. And the harmony gets easier then, without words to misinterpret, whether motivated by nefarious worship or warships, or trolls that sprint to the shade to keep a vice grip on the hip of the cryptic. Never even knew what gaslit meant, just eat, sleep, and pay the rent. Then more of those darn potent words can burst within to set the script. What if some grand programmer coded this idiot to appear even more like an idiot? Like in that classic Russian novel, How to Envision the Perfect Human Being. Well, what would you advise concerning the ideal anthropoid stream of consciousness? When the beating slowly fades like dreams, and all those darn words combine like rushing enemies. If this tribute velvet amounts to anything, I dearly hope that these idiotic words will lead to less words until there are no words left, and just ambient textures to peel back the onion of bliss. No more linguistic anxieties based on memes and petty piety, like spying on a teenager's diary. Heathers showed the true light of popularity, prosper silently alone with bird feeders and holy dark comedies, feeling like the ozone depleted by scientifically stagnant altered realities. For the most part though, I just despise feeling dumb, or exposed as being dumb, or abused for being dumb, when there appears to be a missing connection with my high-functioning muse. Or at least a weak signal raid the 5G merrily, communication breaks down similarly. And what's the half-life to settle this broker translation? Lost in those bed-wetting words again, but hey, it's gotta be close to the end of this album of songs, littered with all those demanding, sun-dried, illogically persistent words. So I will now luckily return to my Seuss books, with hopeful words not so equipped for entrapment, or is green eggs and ham really some convoluted political statement? For the wisest of the wise often state that any words can be manipulated with similar penalties for art, thoughts, and neurological candy, like all those high crimes marred with coincidental containment, when the contact traces the inevitable cracked pavement. Yet still more and more words emerge to trap the spirit in a digital purge. Might I eat now, sleep proud, drink from the fountain reserved for the outcast, and make some of that cash but still worship the cow, with some more words likely on the prowl, to seduce and reduce meaning like a poisoned apple to the juicer. But if the dosage hits just right, it might inspire others to follow this rhyme, and add more of those redundant phrases to the crowd, with mixed metaphors and some whimsical notes regarding our about-to-pop culture, with countless cliches and edited streams like counting sheep while subconsciously withholding sleep and the dementia, until at least the album completes, until at best the lunatic ascends. It seems that singularity is back in fashion again, this time without the guilt to ration, no more shame to embrace like a broken companion. until the news amends the headlines in red, fear of the death and delivered descent, until those fabled words appease the global trapeze and mime the applause, not for fame but for the love and to be loved, but love was all there was to love, and love don't take a lot to love. Through the wonder of fall until the winter wagers that word to the wise withdrawal. Might I sleep without the callback or notation, these closing words like a sentence, to punish the remnants of the cloned idiot's mindless congestion, hopefully marked with a love contagious. Ever since you've lived with these insolvent off-the-cuff melodies, have you noticed a change in your overall mood, appearance, and or general outlook? If you actually paid attention to the majority of this jumbled nonsense, were there any frequencies that medicated the torch? Editing is probably more of the chore. Yet another reason to just ignore all those darn nettlesome words, which make me sound more and more like the idiot restored from that famous Russian novel that provided solace, by that famous Russian novelist that I thought I could mimic with some of my own unchained concepts. But I guess all that speech freed remains a worthy enough reason to continue this repetitious gamble of diction, addicted to the future with phrases to anoint every breath. God bless, I guess, until this idiot ascends. If this tribute velvet ever ends or truly passes the eye test of those gatekeepers annoyed by the inner dread, put it all on black or red, black or red, black or red, God bless, I guess. The love finally commits, God bless, I guess. Roses are red, God bless, I guess. Those pesky words ever relentless, God bless, I guess.